last Wednesday, April 2nd, we got our first real taste of what the Switch 2 is gonna be like. And oh my god. Alright, I've been getting bombarded with Switch 2 content these past few days, and now it's my turn to share my thoughts on the Switch 2 Direct. In this video, I'm going to be giving my opinions on what I think Nintendo's doing well with the Switch 2, and also what needs some improvements, like that price tag, for example. Finally, before we get started, I'd like to give a quick thanks for the support on my last video, which was also my very first video on this channel. I didn't expect to get more than 10 views on it, but here we are, really appreciate that. Anyways though, with all that said, let's get into my thoughts on the Nintendo Switch 2 Direct. Alright, let's start from the very beginning of the Direct, where we get a super strong opening with a new trailer for the next Mario Kart, now officially titled Mario Kart World. At the beginning of this trailer, we get a look at a bunch of characters at the start line of Mario Bros. Circuit. Most of these characters have been seen before, but they also sprinkled in a couple new ones. We're just getting started though, because the race begins and we're thrown right into the action, where we get to see many new tracks, new characters, new features, and so much more. I absolutely loved this trailer. It gave such a good look into this game and what it'll be like. Something really interesting to note about this trailer is just how expressive everyone and everything is. They really went above and beyond animating this trailer, and I'd also like to point out the fact that we can rail grind and wall jump in the carts, which is absolutely nuts. Really exciting though. We of course get to see that we can play as the freaking cow from Moo Moo Meadows. Yes, you heard that right. We also get a glimpse of some power-ups like the Mega Mushroom and this question block that appears above your head, but also a really interesting one where we see Birdo drive into this semi-truck, and then it seems implied that she's like controlling it, which sounds really fun. They show us Mario eating a burger, and then all of a sudden he gets a change of clothes, which they also showed us for a few other characters, and now I'm really excited to see what all the character customization options are going to be for this game. I'm also curious to see what all this burger is going to do, because judging by the cover art, it seems like it may be a big gimmick in this game. They show a bit more and then give us the title, revealing the name Mario Kart World, which, call me crazy, but this title kinda gives off an AI look to me, only very slightly though, and trust me, I know Nintendo isn't using AI art for their games. Behind the title though, we get to see the world itself, which looks huge, and I cannot wait to explore it. The trailer ends, but they still give us some more gameplay footage afterwards and tell us about the game. They revealed a new knockout mode, which from what I can tell is essentially like Fall Guys but Mario Kart, which sounds pretty awesome, I won't lie. But then of course we get to see the big thing for this game, Free Roam, which will let you drive anywhere you want throughout a massive map that they've created for us. I'm super excited to see what this mode has in stock, and I'm also very curious what's going to be hiding around the map. I am slightly concerned that the map will have more quantity than quality, and that exploring might be boring, but I mostly think it's going to be really fun, especially since you can free roam in multiplayer with an NSO membership. There's a lot more to discuss here, and I've barely even scratched the surface with all the new characters they revealed, as well as the info we got in the Nintendo Treehouse, but I don't want this video to be hours long, so we're gonna move on, but just know that I love this trailer and will be making more content on the game when the Mario Kart World Direct happens April 17th. After this, the Direct slows down a bit, and they get into this brand new GameChat feature. GameChat is going to be what the C button's main purpose is, allowing you to access it at any time with the click of a button. There's not a whole lot to discuss here because it's literally just a Discord clone, like basically down to a T. Seriously, look at this and tell me it's original. I will say this is a nice feature to have that should have been added ages ago on Switch 1, but it is nice to see. They also will be selling a Switch 2 camera that gives you a face cam, which will overlay you onto the game you're playing in the GameChat widget green screen style. I don't know if that made the most sense. It's kind of an odd feature, but once again, still neat. They go on to discuss more with this feature, but it's nothing completely new because other consoles have already had game chat / party chats, and so I don't really have much to say. I'm gonna move on now. Now we get into the more technical side of things, where they discuss hardware and whatnot, but definitely the thing people got most excited about is the fact that we're getting 4K support for Switch 2. Truthfully, I wasn't really expecting this, but I'm definitely not complaining. Granted, you can only go in 4K when docked, but I think that's mostly what people are expecting anyways. When in 4K, we can go up to 60 FPS, which is pretty standard, but when playing in 1080p, the Switch 2 can go up to 120 FPS. This is super exciting, and according to the people who have gotten to play with the Switch 2 hands-on, it apparently makes a big difference and feels great to play. I think I'm most excited to check out games like Breath of the Wild or Mario Odyssey with 4K on, because those games really just feel like they deserve higher graphics quality than being stuck in 1080p. As well as this, the Switch 2 will support HDR, and it appears will increase the brightness of the screen greatly in a good way and make everything more vibrant. It is also confirmed the screen will be an LCD. The screen size is 7.9 inches in length, quite a bit bigger than the Switch 1, and once again, people who have gotten a hands-on feel of the Switch 2 have said it feels noticeably larger. It should be noted the console's thickness will stay the same at 13.9mm, which is great. They go on about more hardware, but most of it is just things we sort of already saw in the reveal trailer, and I'm not going to go into detail about it all. Let's just say I think the console itself is looking pretty good hardware-wise. Oh, and also the Pro Controller looks really clean, and I'm going to get it on launch if I can. The next feature I want to talk about is one of the more interesting things they revealed during the Direct. Nintendo Switch 2 Edition games. I hardly even know where to begin begin here. So let's just start with what the hell? Like, wait, what? You're telling me to play Breath of the Wild on Switch, I'm gonna have to pay with money? And do you know what this freaking means? It means we are getting remasters of Switch 1 games on Switch 2. Grr. This is something I specifically said I didn't want in my video before the Direct, because throughout all of the Switch's life, we were constantly getting remasters of Wii U games. I know that maybe you wouldn't necessarily count these as remasters, considering you can just upgrade the game for a smaller fee, but you can also buy the Switch 2 edition of a given game completely separate for full price. On one hand, I can't lie, I'm kind of excited for this, because some games with Switch 2 editions are going to add some new content like Kirby and the Forgotten Land and Mario Party Jamboree, but it's still pretty whack. Like, seriously, Nintendo, just let us play these games on Switch 2 for free. Even if all of them don't have improved graphics, it's better to me than going broke. Now, if there is any Switch 2 edition game I am looking forward to, it is probably Breath of the Wild or TOTK, just because these games belong in 4K with good graphics. As well as this, they are giving us the Zelda Notes feature, which is like a mobile app or something. Yeah, I was confused too. But overall, pretty dumb that we're still getting remasters kinda on Switch 2. I want to talk about mouse controls quick, and the 3 big problems I see with them. Number 1 is that this has gotta be uncomfortable to hold. Like, listen, I haven't used them myself, obviously, but this just looks awkward. Number 2 is, in all the trailers, they show people using a flat, hard surface with these mouse controls. But my question is, what if I don't have that? Like, I know this is nitpicky, but what if I'm just on my couch? I feel like I'd probably have some trouble using this mouse on a cushiony surface like that. The third and final thing is the fact that I feel like this has got to get tiring quick. I get this comes with any game feature you have to move your body with, but I can't see this not getting hard on the arms and wrist when using it for a long period of time. But those are my 3 biggest concerns with the mouse controls. Maybe they'll end up being fine, but I did want to bring it up. After this, they show a bunch of trailers for third-party games, and I really do hope they run well, but some of the games they showed off don't even run well as is, so we'll see how it does. Looking at you, Cyberpunk. I am excited for a few titles they showed here to be on Switch 2, but realistically, I'm just gonna stick to playing these games on PC. After this, though, we gotta look at the brand new Hyrule Warriors game, Age of Imprisonment. I have to admit, I haven't even played the first one, but I'm still pretty excited for this. I loved Tears of the Kingdom, although I'm conflicted on if Breath of the Wild is better or not. Anyways, I think it'll be really exciting to play through the events of what happened before TOTK, and hopefully this will clean up the game's storyline a little. Then after that, they tell us they'd like to give us some news on NSO, the screen goes dark, and then... Oh yeah, baby, we are finally getting the GameCube on Nintendo Switch Online, and I'll be honest, I'm not ridiculously excited for this. I can already play GameCube games as it is, but this is great for people who can't, and a lot of people have been wanting this for ages. And of course, the biggest thing being talked about with this is that the Wind Waker is a game in the library, which is great because people have been begging for a Wind Waker remake for ages. It is also confirmed that Mario Sunshine, Pokemon Stadium, and multiple other games are going to be a part of this service too, which is great. Alright, after they talk about a bunch more third-party games, we get our final reveal of the Direct, which is none other than a brand spanking new Donkey Kong. That's right, after 11 years, our favorite fictional gorilla is making his grand return, no, not that return, a brand new return in Donkey Kong Bananza. This is going to be a 3D open world game that takes a Super Mario Odyssey spin on Donkey Kong. This game uses Donkey Kong's redesign that we also saw in Mario Kart World, which I can't say I'm the biggest fan of. Maybe I just don't like change, but his old design has just become so iconic, it's a little difficult to move on for me. I do like the fun outfit he's wearing, and the fur is very textured, a little too textured actually, but he is very expressive, and I will give him that. As for the game itself, though, I think it looks really fun. This is the first 3D Donkey Kong game since DK64, and things are looking really good here. It shows us a lot of different environments in the trailer, all of which look really fun to explore and full of life. We see that DK can pick up rocks to use as a weapon, as well as surf on, and dig underground to get what I can only assume are ores that will be some form of currency, all while looking really expressive while he does this, and oh my god, this design just growed on me as of writing this script. I take back what I said. Anyways, we get to see DK smashing his way through bad guys, and the combat system definitely looks fun. While I'm sure it'll be pretty simple, mash the button to kill all the enemies in your way type system, I don't really care because it looks satisfying to pull off. We see that barrels are still a thing and DK can jump in them to get shot upward. As well as this, we get a glimpse of DK in a 2D environment, which looks like that of the original Donkey Kong countries. He can also go in minecarts, break bananas, fight bosses, and so much more. And okay, now I'm realizing it kind of sounds like I'm advertising this game, but I'm not. It just looks really fun, alright? And I really want a new Donkey Kong, okay? It then reveals itself as Donkey Kong Bananza and tells us the release date of July 17th, 2025. Overall, super exciting announcement. I'm actually a huge Donkey Kong fan, and I'm incredibly happy that we're finally getting a new game after over a decade. And on top of that, this game looks really good. It also releases within just a couple of months of the Switch 2, and I'm gonna make sure to get my hands on it. And that basically brings us to the end of the Direct, but we need to discuss the elephant in the room, because although the Switch 2 Direct had a lot of amazing things to show us, it's what they didn't show that's concerning. Because nowhere in the Switch Direct did they talk about game prices. pricing, and it was only after the Direct when it was revealed that the average Switch 2 game will be costing $80 digitally and $90 physically. Well, guess I'm living off ice cubes until the Switch 2 comes out because, oh my god, I'm gonna need to save my pennies to be able to afford all the Switch 2 games coming out. Seriously, I get it's becoming more common for game companies to price games higher and higher, but we're nearing $100 for each game here. Each game. I'd also like to point out that Nintendo's always been the more cost-friendly option for consumers, and it's part of the reason their brand is as popular as it is. And now that games are going to be this expensive, they're losing some of their marketing. It's not just the games too, the console is expensive, the accessories are expensive, everything here is expensive. I feel like Nintendo's kind of going the Apple route right now, where everything they've shown looks really clean, but it's also really expensive. I also can't not talk about the Nintendo Treehouse Live in this vid, because the chat was so filled with comments screaming to drop the price of games that the AI chat summary literally thought that's what the stream was about. People are speculating if they will mark down the price of games, and I honestly have no idea, but let's just hope, I guess. But that brings us to the end of this video. Overall, this was an amazing Direct, and probably one of the greatest Nintendo Directs ever. The games on this console are looking amazing and absolutely packed with content. The Switch 2 is seeming to be very powerful in terms of graphics. The games are overpriced, but at least that gives content. And also, to the person who asked for this follow-up video on my last video, here you go.